Hello and welcome once again to the Joint Venture Insider Show, sponsored by the Joint Venture Insider Circle. So we've got some good stuff to share with you, and then we have an interview with Danny Bermant, which I'm very excited about. He knows quite a bit about joint ventures. He's probably forgotten more about joint ventures than most of us know. So really excited to have him on here. So first thing I want to share with you is JVX. The JV experience, live and in person. That's right, not in little boxes, actually in a physical facility, a Marriott in Irvine, California. This is JVIC's annual live gathering, and of course the first one in a little bit, so it's going to be really exciting. A lot of great opportunities there to meet, to learn, to network, to make live connections. If you are not going to JVX, fix that. You should go to JVX, and the link is in the notes. By the way, so the notes, in the show notes, you'll find a link to a page that contains all the links, because that's much easier to get this set up earlier. So you can go there. That will give you the links. If you're watching this show later, then that link will simply take you to the current events we have going on. But if you go there, you'll find the link to go to JVX. And of course, if you want to be a JVX promoter, JVX affiliate, jvinsiderpartners.com. Also coming up, we've got the What's Next for Me manifestation retreat in San Clemente, California. So if you'd like to discover an easy path to manifest the next chapter of your life with passion and purpose, this is a great thing for you. And if your audience would like that, this is a great thing for them. It is a $3,400 program, or $1,870 if they're not getting the hotel, with a 40% commission. So pretty good program if your audience might be intrigued by this. Next up, we have the Empowering Parents program from Think Virtues. So there's a range of commission opportunities and incentives here. They got some challenges. So if you have parents in your audience, definitely something well worth checking out. And then Igor Kaifet's List Building Lifestyle. He has a customizable webinar. So it's a live webinar. He puts a video on the front of it, so that it's custom to you, to your partnership, but it can run at any time, and it doesn't have the vagaries of a live webinar, so it's pretty interesting. And this is for people who want to get into building a list and doing more the ClickBank type affiliate stuff. So it's about building a list, paying to build a list, and then doing a kind of simplified version of affiliates. We also have Organized and Energized coming up. So this is a masterclass to help you organize your workspace, turn files into files, eliminate distractions, and turn papers into profits. So this is run by Kathy Burns, who is a certified professional organizer and image consultant, and has affiliate commission and second tier affiliate available. Also, the webinar is on October 25th, and promotions will be open into October. So again, you can find the notes on that in the show notes. And Sam Leibowitz is running the Podcast Your Passion program, talking about alternative broadcasting, how to create and launch a podcast in 6 weeks. And this is in-depth, the marketing, the whole thing. So if your audience are people who are trying to get their message out, then this is a great program. Sam does Radio NYC. So he has a network of podcasts, so he knows a lot about getting a podcast up. And if this is something your audience can benefit from, they'll be in good hands by promoting Sam's program. And of course, we have the Powerful Introvert program by Lorraine Ellen Scott. This is another one of those $997 programs, 40% commission. I could say standard commission model. The program is October 2nd, so that's coming up soon, but there is still time to promote that as well. And then coming up way in the distance, we have the Sell with Collabs Summit 4-day event in January. This is for authors to sell their books with collaborations. So if you have authors in your audience, this is good for them. If you are an author, this might be good for you. So check out the notes, the links down in the show notes. And once again, because it's worth saying twice, JVX is October 21st and 23rd. If you have not signed up for it, fix that. This is going to be an amazing event that you are definitely going to want to be a part of.
And now,
And now we have our guest, Danny Bermant. So Danny is, he was introduced, he was one of the first major joint venture managers who I met when I entered into this space. And this guy knows a lot about joint ventures. You have 7 clients you're working with now, Danny?
Hi, Michael. Yes, there are 7 clients who are all part of, they're all part of Miracy.
Okay.
But covering really 4 specific areas: coaching, online courses, publishing, and lead generation.
Okay. So for background, tell us a little bit about Miracy and your part of the world.
So Miracy are really pioneers in the whole area of online courses. Our founder, Danny has been basically creating and leading on online courses for getting on for a decade. And basically our signature program is Hybrid Course University, where over the course of 4 months, we help course creators to research, to build, and to pilot their very first online course.
Fantastic. So now, how long have you been in the joint venture space?
I have been in the joint venture space in one way or another for nearly a decade. So
wow.
I've always joint ventures can mean a number of things, but it is very, very basic level. It can be essentially where you are networking with other businesses who complement yours, looking at how you can work together. It can be as simple as referring business to each other. Mm-hmm. Right down to something much more collaborative, where maybe you run a summit together, or you run some sort of launch together.
Fantastic. And so having been in this long, what jumps out at you as the biggest differences from the way things are running now to the way that the joint venture space was, say, 10 years ago?
Everything is a lot more. Everything is a lot more sort of organized. Everything is a lot more process driven. My experience of joint ventures going back several years, everything was a lot more low tech, a lot more sort of disorganized and informal. Now everyone is following a much more structured process. Right, they'll have a sales funnel mapped out. You'll have a launch mapped out where you'll have different stages where you might, for one part of the launch, you're giving away a piece of content which people download and then they join a live event. Sometimes they'll join another live event until the actual offer. So I think what we do now is we move buyers through a much more structured process to bring them on board, whereas everything before was far more. It wasn't thought out with as much depth.
It was more kind of a shotgun approach than a well-planned approach.
Yeah.
And what do you find is working best now in the 2022 joint venture world?
I think what's working best in the 2022 joint venture world is that more savvy partners are being far more selective about who they work with. So they are thinking very carefully, rather than working with a large number of partners. It's thinking very carefully, who can I partner with whose business is very well aligned with mine? And if your audience are basically similar to the partner's audience that you're working with, you're far more likely to get results. So I'm bowled over again and again by the number of relatively small partners I see with relatively small lists, who, when it comes to a launch or a promotion, will be at the very top of the leaderboard or in the top 10, the top 20. And that's because they've been very strategic and very intentional about who they're partnering with. And that, in my opinion, trumps far more than yes, list size. Of course, if you have a large list, that helps. But actually being very selective and strategic about who you work with is very important.
Interesting. And so if someone is newer to the field, they have maybe a 1, 2, 3,000 person list, what would your advice be to them to be effective with joint ventures?
To be effective with joint ventures, in the first instance, is just looking at what other businesses are there in your space who are basically similar to yours or complement yours, right? So, for example, you may be, I don't know, in the business to business sphere, for example, you may be an accountancy practice, right? And you may be looking to basically run a joint ventures with a legal practice. So you might have clients, you may have clients who have needs that a lawyer would be able to serve, and the legal practice would have needs that the accountancy practice can serve. So it's thinking very carefully about other clients you work with who complement yours. And when you network, it's a case of speaking to finding out, who do you know who is in this kind of business, and it's just doing a little bit of due diligence about the someone who you might partner with, who their audience are, what sort of services they provide, what are the problems their audience are grappling with. Does it sound like it's similar to your audience? And don't be put off by working with someone who maybe might be much larger than you. In my experience, when you're working with a partner, they are ultimately much more interested in, really, is this person got an audience that's complements mine? So if they are, they're gonna have a very good they're gonna get very good results for you.
That makes sense, and that goes along with something I'm seeing, which is more of this thought of promoting a partner is not just about the commissions, but about serving your audience that you're looking at and saying, oh, my audience could benefit from learning how to build online courses, so I'm going to promote Miracy, for example, because that will serve my audience. And secondarily, I'm going to get commissions. And secondarily, I may get reciprocation. But primarily, I'm serving my audience with this referral, as opposed to, oh, they pay great commissions and they're big, and then they're going to promote my thing, and who cares what they do?
Absolutely. It's in the first instance, it's actually thinking about giving value in advance. When you are new to joint ventures and you're working with somebody, the first thing, if you feel they're a good fit for you, the first thing you need to be thinking about is, how can I serve you? I really like what you do. I'd love to tell my audience about you. And that is the mindset you need to have. In the first instance, your audience are, you've earned their trust by getting them on your email list. And if you do want to promote a partner, the way you need to look at it is, this is something that actually I think is going to really be helpful to my audience, and I'd like to share that. And in fact, I do, some of the joint venture partners that we work with, they sometimes don't ask for anything else. They're not necessarily looking for commission. They're not necessarily looking for reciprocation, but sometimes they are actually looking for really great content to tell their audience about. It is very hard work if you have an audience if you're emailing your audience regularly, which I would recommend you do. It can be really challenging to come up with content on a regular basis, but that your life is made much easier when you have other complementary partners that you can tell your audience about, and sometimes it can help to sell what you do, because it may be that you have an offer and your offer does answer certain challenges that your audience have, but there may be other challenges that you don't address, which another partner might do. So you need to think about that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense in terms of let your partners provide content for you. And I'm reminded of Ellen Finkelstein, who we had on a few weeks ago. She has her newsletter format, and she's gotten a lot of feedback from people who, even though everything in that's an affiliate link, the feedback is not, you're selling me stuff. It's, thank you for these valuable resources. So
correct.
It's really taking that to that level.
It's really very, very much about how you frame when you are recommending a partner. It's how you frame it. It also helps if you have an audience who is engaged. So they are used to you. Giving them advice, giving them insights. So if that audience, they hear from you regularly, they know you, they like you, they trust you, they're going to be interested when you say to them, actually, is this something you've been struggling with? Here is a tip, or here is a solution that I think is going to help you. Are people receptive to that? And yes, Ellen does that extremely well. And she's a very good example of somebody who goes all out for other partners. And not surprisingly, those partners want to return a favor.
Yep. Yeah, that's very powerful. Now, another thing I've heard some people talk about is the idea of actually even partnering with your quote unquote competitors. So if you have a course creation program, promoting someone else who does a course creation program, because there might be some variations in that. What are your thoughts on promoting people who do things that from a distance may look like your direct competition?
So in my experience, there are very few partners who are direct competitors. So very occasionally you'll come across a partner who has they have very similar systems, they have very similar software, they have a very similar structured program. So obviously that may not be the right fit, but most of the time, I find that so-called competitors are very, very good partners. Number one, they are offering a program that is not necessarily structured the way that yours is. It might be addressing a different challenge. And number two, they may be offering a different approach to you. And you need to remember that whilst what you do is very appealing, it's not going to appeal to everybody. So it makes total sense for you to work with partners where if your audience aren't necessarily interested in what you have to offer, why not then let them know about something else that will be of interest to them? And obviously the partners you work with will have the same challenge. Not everyone is going to be interested in what they're having to offer. So if you have something that's again, that's an alternative, that's structured in a different way, that has a slightly different approach, you are helping your audience. And that actually gives you, I would say, kind of a halo of credibility.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, you said the halo of credibility because it shows that you've got that confidence that you're willing to promote someone who does something in your space, as opposed to, oh, we don't talk to anyone in our space.
Yeah, I mean, for example, you've all had situations sometimes where you go down to you go down to the main street and you go to a shop and you say, I'm looking to buy XYZ, and the owner of the shop says, actually, I can't help you with that, but you know what? There is a shop just down the road which can help you with that. And it's just having that mindset. You're there to, in my experience, most of the partners we work with are there to serve their audience. They're there to help your audience. And by recommending other partners, even those who are in a similar space to you, that is what you're doing. You're helping your audience.
Yeah, I think it was about 20 years ago. I walked into a Best Buy to buy a cable, and I'm talking to the guy. I'm asking if the cable's the right cable. He's like, that's the right cable, but if I were you, I'd go across the hall to Target because it's like half the price over there. And so they lost that as a $16 cable. But forever on, I thought, I can probably trust the advice of a blue shirt at Best Buy because he told me not to buy there. So if I'm going to buy a $500 TV or a $1,000 computer, I'm going to trust them because they were willing to take that risk with the $15 cable. And I think it's the same kind of credibility.
That is a very good analogy.
Yeah. So any other advice you would have for our audience who are up and coming in the joint venture space?
I think if you're up and coming in the joint venture space, don't, as I said, really be, in the first instance, build up goodwill and build up trust with partners. And the way to do that is to initially offer to go first. If a partner's more established than you, they're going to be a little bit apprehensive. Is this person going to deliver? Can they help me? So you do need to prove yourself. And I think there is another challenge that partners bring to me is I often hear from partners, well, my program's not ready yet. I'm still developing my website. I'm still developing my offers. I'm not ready for joint ventures yet. And I think that is a big mistake, because whilst you're developing your program, and that program may take months, it may take a year, you have that time to actually go to your list and actually recommend other people to them. So you could, let's say it takes you 9 months to get your program up and running. That's 9 months where you could be promoting an awful lot of partners who 9 months down the line you've built up goodwill with and will be only too happy to reciprocate. So I would say don't wait. Don't wait. You don't need to have everything set up and ready, right? What you need to be doing is helping your audiences off the go from day one.
That makes a lot of sense. And of course, it makes you look good too. Your audience is looking and seeing you're partnering with these players in the industry, and you're curating that content for them. So even before you have your own content, you're still ready to get in the game. And then you don't have to worry about, how do I get this guy to promote me? Because it's not the problem. You're just giving. So that is fantastic advice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely, and I think that really is in my view what I had actually interviewed. I had a discussion the other day with Peter Sandine, who is an expert in marketing, and he reminded me of what people often forget. Marketing is actually about, if it's done properly, it's really about helping your audience to solve a problem, right? They're struggling with a particular challenge. You are there to try and help them overcome that challenge. And it may be that your solution may be the right fit for them, but obviously there are other solutions out there, and that's what marketing's about. It's about helping your audience get from where they are now to where they would like to be.
Yeah,
that's what you're there to do.
That's right. And also, kind of the other way I think about it would be like if you owned a McDonald's franchise, but then if you could also, people are like, I don't really like McDonald's. oh, no problem. Use our link to go to Burger King. And then you're still getting 20% of Burger King sales. So, they're going to find the other solution anyway. You might as well help them and keep them in your ecosystem rather than be like, well, you don't want me. Tough luck, buddy. Figure it out yourself. Provide that solution. That's really powerful.
Correct.
Yep.
You're raising all the boats.
Yes. Yep. So final thoughts, anything I haven't asked or anything you want to share before I let you go?
No, I think that I think that the main kind of takeaway thought I would leave partners with is focus on giving value in advance. And it's not just about things like reciprocation where you offer to promote audiences, but also ask them about, just take an interest in them, ask them about their program, ask them about their audience, ask them about what they're struggling with, right? Sometimes some of the best calls that I have with partners is just about sharing insights with them about changes they can make to their launch, changes they can make to their promotion that will help them get better results. And maybe they've got a launch coming up and they'd like you to promote it, but the dates don't work for you. So you'll say, look, these dates are not going to work for me. However, I do work with other partners in a similar space. Would you like me to recommend them to you? So it's just thinking like that. It's always focusing on being there for your partners. And if you take that mindset, you will get very good results.
All right, fantastic. Well, this has been wonderful advice, as I knew we would get, because you're Danny Bermant. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge. And I believe you're going to be at JVX. Is that correct?
I am very excited. I am traveling from London to LA, which is close to where the event's taking place. So I'm not sure if I'm one of the most far away attendees, but really looking forward to it.
It is, I think, 8 time zones, so that is a little
correct.
Little ways.
It's 8 hours behind me.
Yeah. So there's not too much further away you could be before you wrap around and you're coming from the other side.
Correct.
So excited to have you coming over, and I look forward to meeting you in person as well as many other people. And if you want to meet Danny Bermant and a whole bunch of other awesome folks, you too should come to JVX in October. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Michael.